Hello everybody, my name is Synth and I'm here today to give my take on a Season 13 Kindred gameplay guide. If you're not one of the many people who I already know and have linked this video to you, then thank you for watching. I'm a Kindred main with a side of Season 12 Echo, and though I play a very diverse pool of champions, I ultimately end up going back to my home in the jungle. I climbed from Bronze 2 after placements to Plat 1 on the year in Season 12, and I'm aiming to hit Diamond in Season 13. I hope to soon start up a regular streaming schedule where you can find me on Twitch at SynthSoul, which will be linked in the description below. Before we get started, I have a couple of disclaimers that I'd like to throw out there. Number 1, this is strictly a gameplay guide. I will not be touching up on rune options or build options a whole lot, because that could require an entire video in and of itself to explore the possibilities. For now, I will say though that I used Kraken Slayer into Borg in almost all of these games. I went Wits End third if I was behind or even, and Bloodthirster if I was ahead for a solo Baron threat. My reason for doing this build path was because of the fact that in most of these games that I played, there were 3 or more tanks on the enemy team. Number 2, all opinions in this video are based strictly on my own experience. I will be going through matchups at the end of the video and which ones I feel are favorable or unfavorable for this strategy. Please do not go around being critical about everything I say just because you think differently. I'm all for making adjustments to my mindset if you can make a convincing argument, but otherwise do not want excess criticism. And my third and final disclaimer, all of these games that the replays have been taken from were played in sequence across 3 days. It is not designed in any way to look good or be misleading. In one of them, you will see me die a miserable death to an Elise at level 3. Now let's go ahead and dive right into what level 1 should look like for Kindred. For level 1, Kindred doesn't really do a whole lot at level 1, but there is one thing that I find to be very important to take note of. If you're on blue side, and you or a teammate can get a ward down on top of or near the enemy raptors and still get back to your red buff in time, then that can be proved to be critically important information for the strategy that I'm about to dive into. For red side, it's a little bit more difficult and doesn't give you the information that you need or would like as often as it does on blue side, but if you could get your top laner toward the enemy Gromp and blue, then that can also prove to be critically important information if it plays out properly. In my previously mentioned matchup tier list, I have a category for how healthy they are for the matchup synergy using this strategy. These words are very important for these particular matchups. For early pathing on blue side. For blue side, I like to do a 3 camp clear into an invade. I'll go red, blue, into Gromp, into invade the enemy red buff over the Baron Pit wall. That's critically important due to the fact that the enemy mid laner may place an early ward in the Pixelbrush and River if they have prio, since they know that you'll be pathing towards top and want as much safety as possible. In this clear, you want to use the first charge of Smite and your single healing potion on either blue buff or Gromp. It's better to use the healing potion before the invade so that you're as healthy as possible going into the invade and that you get your full value out of it. You should have your second charge of Smite ready by the time you reach the enemy red buff. Use it to secure their red buff if you can. This will get you the slow firm red buff combined with your E-slow, which will almost always guarantee a kill on the enemy jungler if they're there. One thing to watch out for and be ready for is an early mid gank by the enemy jungler when you're playing on blue side. You can often take a 2v2 since Kindred has a very strong level 3 burst potential. For red side, I like to do a 4 camp clear into an invade. I will go blue into Gromp into Wolves, so a full blue side clear, then into red, and then into invading the enemy blue. On the way to the enemy blue, it is okay to reroute to a mid gank or top gank if you see the potential, but keep in mind that this will cost you your invade due to the information that it gives to the enemy team. Otherwise, path through the bottom portion of the river and take the blast cone over into the blue buff brush. You should have 1 charge of Smite up and ready to be used to secure the buff if necessary. If there's no jungler there, the first thing you do is check Gromp from the bush. If there's no Gromp there, but Gromp is alive on the minimap, walk into Pixel Brush and above the blue buff. The enemy jungler will almost always go for the Scuttle Crab afterwards, and you can grab them there. If the Gromp is gone, then ping your top laner to back off immediately and walk towards top. Basically, if the enemy jungler is bringing Gromp towards blue buff, fight. If they bring it towards top lane and you know they're there, wait to fight in the Pixel Brush above the blue buff. If the Gromp is already gone, expect a top lane gank and act accordingly. For both sides of the map, after your invade has gone through, check and see which of the crabs your mark has spawned on. If it spawned topside, then go ahead and take the mark. If it spawned bot side, then immediately check to see if mid or top is gankable, preferably mid. If they are, then you can secure a second mark. If they aren't, then run bot side river to your mark. The enemy jungler has likely already blown flash and will be even easier to kite out or chase, even if they've gotten a back in and you haven't. Most of the time, they'll still only have 300 gold when you kill them, and won't get a lot of value on their back. If you died in the invade but still feel confident, run right to your mark and try again. They will be there. Otherwise, look to full clear any camps you have left and get a decent back in before dragon spawns. This will almost always yield you 2 marks in the first 4 minutes of the game. After you've gotten your marks, your objective is to hit 1300 gold. Treasure hunting your runes is a must to hit this mark. For blue side, you generally only need to go back and clear wolves to hit that 1300 if you got first blood. For red side, you can go back to clear wraps and krugs for the noon quiver. If you can't quite hit 1300, that's alright. 1000 will also do. Buy all 3 components of noon quiver if you have 1000. On this back, make sure that you have a red trinket as well. The 5-minute dragon, which isn't always 5 minutes here, but it's relatively close. With noon quiver, Kindred can quickly solo dragon in 2 rotations of their abilities, or approximately 20 seconds. Most junglers do not expect this and have already cleared their 2-2 camps on the corresponding side of the map and are headed back topside or preoccupied with a bot gank. For playing red side, your mark will almost always go onto the enemy jungler's 2-2 Gromp, which plays a perfect role in distracting the enemy jungler for a sneaky dragon, especially considering that they know you already have a couple of marks under your belt. I had a 100% secure rate on the first dragon of the game across all of these clips, and still do about 20 games later. The times listed for first dragon are listed in the top corner of each clip. If you've completed your Kraken Slayer, you can take second drag in 10 seconds or less. Again, with the third drag, you can also take it unreasonably quick all by yourself. This can often lead to a forced fight for a sub 23 minute soul that the enemy team may not want to take or may not even be in a position to take at all. Otherwise, it serves as a fantastic distraction for you to go and take a solo Baron if you're significantly ahead, while your team 4-man contests the objective that the enemy team is forced to contest. These early force fights are often favorable, and if you played the early game properly, can be game-changing. I find that they also often lead to an early forfeit. I have here a tier list of matchups and how I think they play out using this strategy. There are 4 tiers in total. The first tier, easy picks. These are champions that I think can generally be very easily killed early on in the game. You'll basically always be able to at the very least get their flash, if not a kill on them during your invade. This list includes Evelynn, Wukong, Echo, Skarner, Fiddle, Nocturne, Kha'Zix, Mundo, Graves, Ivern, Jarvan, Kayn, Maokai, Nidalee, Viego, Zac, and Shaco, though with Shaco, you may have to chase him a little bit, but he's generally still a free kill if you have a red trinket on you. The second tier that I have here is the wait for cooldowns category. This is a list of champions that you need to watch out for, but you can still generally get a kill against early on. Wait out Vi Q, Elise's Cocoon, Zin's W, though honestly he's borderline easy picks, so if he doesn't use it, no biggie. Bel'Veth E, who is also borderline easy picks because of the fact that when she gets low and uses her E, you just walk out of it and then finish her up. Gragas E, because it easily gets him out. Hecarim E, for the same reason. Taliyah W, for the same reasoning. Then we move on to Lee Sin, who is dead if he's low on energy, so literally just let him use any of his abilities on his camps. Nunu E will just root you, and then he can just walk out with Phase Rush, so unless he's low, don't bother. Poppy E is deadly, and Rammus W, which he will use on his camps, but after that's done, he's very vulnerable. The next list that I have is the How Healthy Are They category. This is a list of champions that I think you can fight early on, but it's important to note the difference in health between yourselves and them. I think that they're killable, but definitely a bit more of a challenge. This list includes Mordekaiser, Shyvana, who you will almost never find since her clear speed is so quick, Udyr, use the wall if you can, Amumu, Kindred for all you blind pickers out there, Talon, Rengar, though he's borderline wait for cooldowns because if his W is down, then he's pretty much dead, and Diana. Then finally, I have the Do Not Fight category. This is a list of champions that I would not recommend fighting unless you're extremely confident in yourself or you have a death wish. This category includes Trundle, Warwick, Rek'Sai, because Shu will know that you're coming, which kind of ruins your whole invade, Yi, which sadly was a winning matchup before you got his isolated Q damage, Olaf, Sejuani due to her armor passive, and Volibear. Most of these champions can just run you down and have good gap closers or extreme burst. And that's it. This video was my take on a Season 13 Kindred gameplay guide from what I've been seeing so far in the games that I have played. Thank you to everyone who has watched this. I appreciate you all so much. A final reminder to like and subscribe as I'm looking to publish some more content in the future. I'm also looking to get back into regular nightly streaming, and you can find my Twitch channel linked in the description of the video below. Thanks again and have a fantastic rest of your day.